What's up, sports designers? Mike with Sports Templates here, and I am back to show you this awesome new After Effects animated hockey jersey template. Today, I'm going to show you how to make this amazing Canada design. You can see it here, and it's going to do an awesome 360-degree rotation, a little change in the speed. Play it again for you. So I'm going to show you how to make this today using After Effects and Photoshop together. But before I do me a tiny favor, head down, hit those like and subscribe buttons, okay? And down in the description, you're also going to find some useful information, so make sure to check that out. Okay, so let's take a look at everything you get with this hockey jersey animated template package. So you're going to get the After Effects file that you see here, and I'm going to show you how to handle this and set this up. You get 3 different sized compositions. So you get the square, like I'm looking at here. You also get the HD or widescreen at 1920 by 1080. And then you also get the mobile, so 1080 by 1920 basically, so if you want to do this on your phone. Now the great part about this is when you edit something, it changes in all 3 views. And so I'll show you that as we go through, and then when you animate it, you'll be able to see it all the way around in all 3 views. This one's going to take a minute to buffer before it goes, but one of the cool things about working with After Effects. But this one, the square view, I've already got. I've been playing with this one a bit, so it's got some memory cache built up, so it doesn't take too long to buffer and work through. So I'm going to show you how to use this. Even if you've never used After Effects before, it's going to be really easy. You'll learn some things about After Effects. You'll also learn how to use this in tandem with the linked Photoshop template that helps make this work. And there's also a plugin that's needed. It's a UV plugin. It's really easy to download and install, and we'll talk about how to do that. So there's going to be a link to it in the description on this video. You just follow that link. You'll download the plugin, and let me just make sure that I have it. It's called UVPass, and once you get to it, once you have it downloaded, you just need to make sure that you put it in the correct place. And so if you go to your C drive, and then you go to your program files, and then you go to Adobe, and then you choose the version of After Effects that you're using. So I'm just going to do the 2023. And then if you go to support files, and then lastly, you go down to plugins, you'll see here it is here. This is the ft-UVPass 64 plugin that you need. I've already got it dropped in here. All you need to do once you've downloaded that file is drop it in here. Then you'll probably want to restart After Effects so that it can take effect. That's how you do it on a PC. I'm going to pass it over to Ollie for just a minute so he can show you how to do it on Mac.
Hey, Ollie here, taking over from Mike to show you how to do this on the Mac. And to do it on the Mac, you're going to get, after you download the ft-UVPass plugin, you can just double click on it. It's going to extract. Once you open that folder, there's 2 options. There's one for Windows and one for Mac. You go into the Mac one, and then you copy this ft-UVPass 64.plugin, and then you can go to Applications. So inside of Applications, you just need to search for After Effects. You can double click on it, and inside of After Effects, you can just go into the Plugins folder, double click on it. You just click Command V to paste that plugin. It's going to ask for your password. Okay. And it's going to place it in here. Now, if you have a MacBook that's running an M1 or M2 Apple Silicon, you just need, before you start After Effects, you need to right click on it and get info. And in here, you need to make sure that you have open using Rosetta. So this is needed for the plugin to work because it's not optimized for M1 silicone. So the trade-off is this will make your render times slower, but the 3D graphics wrapping will work inside of After Effects. So once we make sure that using Open Rosetta is activated, we can go back to our folder. And now if you open it up, you're going to get this message that's saying you open it up in Rosetta, but you can see that all the textures are loaded up and it's ready to go. Now back to Mike to continue with this tutorial.
Okay, thanks for that, Ollie. Appreciate it. Always a good assist man with the Mac stuff because that is not my world. Okay, so let's get started on this. So when you download everything, important to make sure that you keep it all in the same spot. I just dropped everything on my desktop, and the reason for that is the After Effects file, there's a bunch of assets that come with it that make all of this awesome, fancy magic work, and they need to be in the same location so that they can sort of talk to each other. And the same thing's true for the PSD. There's a Photoshop file that comes with this. It's just generically titled Add Your Design Here. You'll want to make sure that you have that PSD, and I'm going to show it to you in a minute. You're going to make sure that you have that in the same location as the After Effects file and as the assets folders. So once you download everything, just keep it all in the same place. Okay? So once you open up this After Effects file, this is what you're going to see. Your view may look a little different though. One thing we want to make sure you have is the Essential Graphics window. So just go here to Window and turn on Essential Graphics so you can see this, because that's where a lot of the controls are for changing colors, changing text, turning certain things on and off within this animation. So I'm going to show you how to do that. So once you've done that and you've got, sort of this view here, you're ready to go. So let me show you kind of how all this works. First of all, you can change a lot of stuff here within the After Effects template. So at the top, you'll see we have dynamic lighting. You can turn that on and you can see it just adds a different lighting element, and you can move these controls around over here to sort of change the direction of the light, change where it's coming from, what side it's coming from, and you can also change the intensity. So if you want to just dial it down a little bit, move it up. So that allows you to fully customize the lighting to just fit whatever look that you want to have. I'm going to turn that off for now, and I'll actually minimize that too. Now you see this design visibility. This is what is connected to the Photoshop template. So when we turn this on, it's going to pull in whatever we have in our PSD that we've saved as, it's like a linked file. So it's going to pull that in and put it on the jersey design. So if you've worked with Photoshop templates before and sports templates products, you know about smart objects, right? So within a Photoshop file, you can have a smart object. You can, warp it or set it up with certain settings that you want. When you go into the smart object, it's just a flat, canvas. You make your changes and you save it. And when you save it, it applies those changes to the master. In this case, this is what we're doing with Photoshop. The Photoshop template is acting like a smart object linked here to After Effects. So when we go into Photoshop, and I've already got this all set up just to save time, down in the description, there is an asset library, a link to this library. It has all the colors and shapes and letters and numbers that you will need to replicate this design. And if we go into this Photoshop template, we've got like this, sort of grid on this background, and you can turn it off if you want to. It's just there to show you kind of where to place everything. And so you can see there's a collar area, and in this case, we've added a red stripe there. You don't see it yet in After Effects, but you will. We've got the sleeves, and let me just turn on like this grid. So if you turn on this grid, it allows you to see a little better. You want to turn it off when we save, but I'll show you in a minute. I'll save it with this on so you can see what it does. So this is kind of just showing us like where everything is on the jersey, right? So here's the back of the jersey. You can see the name across the back, the number 55. Here's the front. We've even got a jock tag down here, so I'm going to zoom in on that. And you could replace that if you want to, right? We just have like an official World Cup kind of thing there. But you can put anything you want there, right? We've got some stripes, right? These white stripes going across the jersey. On the sleeve, we've got some maple leaves. We've got some numbers. On the collar, we've got another maple leaf. Neck stripe would be like the inner part of the collar here. If I can zoom in on that. Zoomed in too much. So that would be like this here, right? And you can see this is, when I zoom in, the resolution goes down. We have it set to 1/3 of the quality. That just helps things render more quickly when we're in here just sort of testing. Your final quality will be more like this when you render it out. But depending on how fast your computer is and how much memory you have and things like that, and your graphics processor, just when you're working in After Effects, you probably want to set this, down to 1/3 or 1/4, just so just so it doesn't bog your machine down when you're making these changes. Okay, so let's go back to Photoshop. So here in Photoshop, and I'm gonna hit Control-0 just to zoom all the way back out. So this is easy, like setting stuff up in here. Let's just pretend that these are not here. If you want to pop those leaves in, I saved one in the asset library called sleeve leaf. You can just drag them out and then just, kind of place them wherever you want to. So that one, I think, pretty much where the other one was. And then I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to hold Shift and I'm going to drag to the left. And what that does is it makes a copy. And by holding Shift and dragging left, it's not going to let it move up or down. It will if I try really hard, but holding Shift kind of tells it, hey, I only want to go in the one direction I started with. So I want to go horizontally, not vertically. And so it keeps it right in line. So that's kind of how easy it is to place stuff. I'll just show you again here. Like if I didn't have that there, you can just drag it out from the asset library and then just place it. And this one, I'm going to hold Alt and I'm going to drag in toward the center just to change the size a little bit. And then I'll use my arrow keys. I want to like really center that, right? And I think that's fine, right? So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how kind of the smart object idea works. So I'm going to hit Controller Command S, and that's going to save this. Now I did this with the blue grid on purpose so you can see what happens. Now that I've saved it, if I go back to After Effects and I just click somewhere, if we give it a minute to sort of refresh, you'll see now all that has moved over, and that's here in the design visibility. So if I turn this off, you don't see it. If I turn it on, you see everything that was over on the Photoshop template has now come over here. It's going to take a minute to render, kind of buffer to the back, but you can see everything that we added in Photoshop has now been moved over here. So we don't want that blue grid. I just wanted to show you kind of how that works. I'm going to turn that off. If you want to, you can also turn off the sort of background. It's all masked out, so it's not going to affect anything, but might save a little faster if you turn that off because there's less data there. So we'll let that save. We'll go back to After Effects and just kind of give it a second. It just takes a second when everything is done saving in Photoshop. It takes a second to sort of catch up over here. And sometimes you just need to kind of click somewhere and then you can see like it's loading. So this case, I just turned design visibility off and then back on and it refreshed. So it took out the grid that was behind it. So if we go back and look at our sample design, we've still got some other stuff we need to change, right? We need to change the color. We got to set the right color options, change some text in the background. So colors, we've got 3 different options. Well, 4 really, because there's this one, right, that we see here. Let me zoom in a little bit. There's this one here, which is, I guess, we'll just call it the basic one. If we turn this one on, we get this laced collar. Turn this one on, we get another option, which I think is the one from the sample. And then we have this one, right? So we'll just turn this one on. And if we open up this little caret here, we can see there's different colors that we can set. Okay. And so if we go over to libraries, and if you don't have libraries, you can just go Window Libraries. Here's the ST Canada hockey. So if you want to change these colors, it's really easy. You just choose this eyedropper tool and you choose the color, right? So red there. The V-shape base will make black. So let's see. Make sure we have black in our view. So I had this scroll down and I chose this and then I went over here and it doesn't really let me scroll. But if you just hit escape, then it'll let you scroll. So scroll to the top. And you can always adjust the size of things over here too, your whole layout, if you want to make, things bigger. But I'm just gonna do this and choose that. And then the overall color, I think I'm also gonna make black. Not that it matters because you don't really see it in this case. And let's see, what color were the laces? The laces are still white. So we've got this black stripe, and I'll show you how we get that. If we go down to jersey parts, now there's a lot, right? There's a lot of stuff. So collar part, you can't see that again because it's kind of underneath stuff that's already there. But here's the collar. We'll just make that black. The neck stripe, which is that little line in there. Let's see, I'll scroll down here and we'll make that white because I just think that looks cool when we do that. The shoulders we'll make red. We're just gonna make everything red now. The sleeves, red. The armpits, red. The torso, red. And then the overall, red. Now you can see everything just filled in nice and red, just like we have here. And then I'm just using my scroll wheel on the mouse to zoom in and out. So if you zoom in and out, you can see now we've got everything the way that we want it. And if something wasn't, kind of where you wanted it, you could always move stuff around. So you can always reposition stuff, right? So let's pretend like you wanted that number to be higher. You could go back to the Photoshop template. You can click that, and I'm going to hold Shift and grab both of those, and then I'm just going to drag up. And I'm going to hold Shift as I go. I don't like that. I'm going to hit Control-Z to back it up. It started moving sideways before I really got the Shift key down. So I'm going to hold Shift and move up. That kind of moved sideways anyway. Okay, there we go. So now it's just moving up. You can see it's moved up 143 pixels. Left and right, it's moved 0 pixels. So I'm going to commit that, Control or Command-S to save. And I'm not saying that's a change we wanted to make. I'm just kind of giving you an example. If we come back here, let's just turn design visibility off and then back on. So back at After Effects, you can see it's jumped up here. The number has moved up. And if I go back to Photoshop, I think I already did a Control-Z to move this back down. So I'm just going to save it. Control or Command-S to save. And then if we go back to After Effects, wrong thing. Go back to After Effects, there you can see it just jumped back down. And that's really where we want it, right? So happy with that there. So now let's look at the background. If we scroll all the way down, there's a background down here, and there's a bunch of things we can change. So there's a drop shadow. Do you want that on or off? We want it on, right? It adds a little bit more realism. You can see when we turn it off, it just doesn't look as cool. Here's the text. And we'll just make this say Canada Hockey. And you can see as I'm changing it, it's changing there. We'll leave the text that white color. We'll change the background color to our red. And maybe just on the background, we'll just bring this over a little bit. I think either way is fine. If we look at our video, I think it's a more saturated red, just like what we actually have. But just depending on the look you're going for, you may want to change that. Maybe you want to go for like kind of a lighter look to really make the jersey pop, but totally fine to go with the more saturated color. Maybe you want to go with a black background, right? There's any number of things you could do. So that's it. That's how easy it is to use this template to put this design together, get it how you want it. If you hit the space bar, that'll start your timeline playing and you'll start to see the animation. Now you can see the green here. That's kind of where it's buffering. So you can see it's staggering a little bit. If I pause it and just back up and then play, it's going to go a lot more smoothly until it catches up. Eventually this whole bar will be full and it'll go through a full 360-degree rotation, nice and smooth. So when you export it, that's what will happen, is you'll get an export of a full 360-degree rotation. The first and last frames are exactly the same. So if you wanted to, you could just, drop that exported MP4 into something like After Effects or Premiere Pro and just loop it, right? You can just put one after the other and it'll just be a continuous loop of rotation, which is pretty cool, right? If you want to just make a longer loop. Right, so pretty cool. So that's the template. That's everything you get with it. That's everything you need to use it. If you want to export, right, you can export directly from here. Best way to do it is with Adobe Media Encoder. And you can export one at a time, or you can export all the different sizes at once. So if you want to export the square, the HD, and the mobile all at once, you can do that. The best way I've found to do that, right, is just come up here, click this one, hold shift, click that one. So you've got all three selected. Go to add to media encoder queue. And if you don't have it already up or running, it might take a minute. If you don't have it installed, make sure you install it. But it might take a minute to load up like it's doing now. Once it's loaded up, very easy to see your export options from there. So you'll see here in this queue, they're eventually going to show up here. It's still loading. It takes a minute. And I want you to see this because, again, depending on your computer and whether you've done this stuff before or not, things might take a little bit longer. But you can see all three have loaded up now. The HD, the mobile, and the square have all loaded up. Now, if you want to change settings on these, you can. The easiest way to do that is just to click here. And again, this is going to take just a minute to load up. Once you already have gone through this, it moves a little faster, if you will. So here, it's just rendering. You can do a preview of it in here. But really, I'm just looking at settings over here, right? So it doesn't really matter because there's no audio on this, but I always I uncheck the export audio because I don't have any audio, and I feel like, I don't even know if it's true, but I feel like it would probably go faster if I'm not trying to do additional things that I don't need. Now, if you've had audio on there, then that's fine. The other thing I like to check here is use maximum render quality. Then you just hit OK. And then here, this is just to choose where it saves, right? So right now it's going to save on my desktop. If you click here, you can choose a different path to save it if you have a certain folder and somewhere else you want to do it. And you can make those changes for each of these as you go. And then when you're ready to go, you hit this little play button. You'll see it starts to render, and it'll give you an idea after a minute or 30 seconds or so. It'll kind of give you an idea of how much time is remaining. Again, this is going to depend on how fast your computer is, okay? How much memory you have, what type of graphics processor you have, what kind of render engine that you have, right? I'm using this one here. So it's going to vary for everyone. I just want you to be aware of that, okay? So at this point, it just becomes a waiting game. When you're done, though, you will get a beautiful MP4 like this that you can do whatever you want with. Use it on social media, whatever you want to do. Okay? So I hope that was helpful to you. I hope that's exciting for you. It's a really cool template, beautiful hockey jersey, 3D rotation, 3D animation. Really, really cool, and hopefully something new that you haven't been able to do before. Maybe you've wanted to try After Effects, but you've been a little, afraid of it, a little shy about it. No need to be intimidated. It's just like anything else. It's not that hard once you start using it. Thank you so much, guys, for following along. Make sure you head over to sportstemplates.net, pick this up, and we'll see you next time. Don't forget to hit those like and subscribe buttons down low, and thank you so much for following along with us.